U.S. authorities have arrested a man suspected of planting pipe bombs in Washington the night before the January 6, 2021 assault on the Capitol by supporters of President Donald Trump. The FBI released surveillance video, offered a $500,000 reward, and received hundreds of tips in a years-long search for the suspect they believe was involved in the incident that took place nearly 5 years ago. The footage, from January 5, 2021, showed a person putting a bomb near a bench outside the Democratic National Committee building. The suspect placed another bomb at the Republican headquarters. Both sites are near the Capitol. The suspect was in Virginia when he was arrested, according to a law enforcement official. "We have him," a Justice Department official told the media. He is expected to make an initial court appearance in Washington, according to a source briefed on the matter. The bombs were discovered on the same day supporters of Trump stormed Congress in an attempt to stop lawmakers from certifying Democrat Joe Biden's 2020 presidential election victory. Police deactivated the bombs and neither exploded. At the House Homeland Security Committee hearing, Representative Benny Thompson slammed Republicans about January 6th and the treatment of Capitol Police officers.
I now recognize the ranking member, the gentleman from Mississippi, Mr. Thompson, for his opening statement.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, and I welcome also our witnesses to this hearing. I also want to welcome our newest Democratic member to the committee, Representative James Walkinshaw of Virginia's 11th District. Mr. Walkinshaw is serving on the committee's Cybersecurity and Border Security subcommittees, and we look forward to his contributions to the committee's work. With that said, Mr. Chairman, I want to begin by offering my condolences in the wake of the tragic shooting of Specialist Sarah Beckstrom and Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf in the nation's capital last week. Our thoughts and the thoughts of all Americans continue to be with the families as they mourn Sarah's loss and pray for Andrew's recovery. Gun violence is a scourge of our country, and violence against troops and law enforcement officers is reprehensible. All Americans must condemn this violence, and the perpetrator must be held accountable. With that in mind, I appreciate Chairman Garbarino's holding today's hearing. Not only is this his first full committee hearing as chairman, but it's also the committee's first hearing in 4.5 months after the former chairman left Congress. Republicans shut down the government, and the Speaker sent the House home. It's past time for the committees to get back to work. It's my understanding that next week we will have Secretary Kristi Noem before us at our annual Worldwide Threat hearing, and that too is also long overdue. Never in the history of the committee has the Secretary of Homeland Security hidden from congressional oversight like she has, aided by a Republican majority that refuses to hold the Trump administration accountable. Secretary Noem has a lot to answer for, particularly about how she's using masked officers to terrorize communities, including American citizens, children, pregnant women, and seniors, putting law enforcement officers and the public at risk. We look forward to her appearance next week. As for today's hearing, I'm pleased that Republicans want to address violence against police officers, but quite frankly, I just can't get over their hypocrisy. Republicans have spent the last 5 years defending the armed mob that attacked police officers at the Capitol on January 6, 2021. They demanded pardons for the perpetrators and cheered when President Trump issued them. Republicans don't care that pardoning people who threaten and attack officers would encourage others to do the same. They did it anyway. Many Republicans voted to put this plaque, staff were displaying the poster, in the Capitol honoring the service and sacrifice of law enforcement on January 6th, but have since been silent on their leadership, still refusing to hang the plaque for fear of angering President Trump. Republicans care more about being in President Trump's good graces than they do about honoring officers who put their lives on the line to protect the Capitol on January 6th. Today, we're grateful to have one of those heroes, Officer Daniel Hodge, with us. His testimony to this committee and his prior testimony before the committee on January 6th attack, which I was honored to chair, is as insightful as it is powerful. Officer Hodges responded to the Capitol on January 6th, where he and his fellow officers were beaten, tased, and crushed by an armed mob that wanted to block the peaceful transfer of presidential power. I asked the clerk to play a video showing just a few moments of Officer Hodges and his fellow officers under attack at the Capitol on January 6th. Please be advised that the video contains strong language. Officer Hodges, no matter how many times you've seen it, I cannot imagine how difficult it is for you to watch that footage of yourself in the tunnel. There are no words to adequately describe that awful day, and no way fully express our appreciation for what you and your fellow officers did to protect all of us who were gathered in the Capitol that day. I know the threats of violence against you and other officers did not end on January 6th, but continue to this day. I thank you for being here and commend your bravery in continuing to speak out. Unfortunately, when it comes to condemning threats and violence from the far right, the silence from our colleagues on the other side is deafening. Until Republicans are willing to acknowledge the problem on their side of the political spectrum and do something about it, their statements about protecting police officers are hypocritical. And unless they are willing to call out how the Trump administration's illegal enforcement tactics are endangering law enforcement and the public right now, their statements about protecting police officers are meaningless. I urge Republicans to join us in condemning attacks against police, regardless of ideological motivation, and begin holding the Trump administration accountable for its actions. I thank the witnesses again for joining us today. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.